made me want to be a better person. It made me a better woman. And I think that's the legacy of Chairman Fred. It felt like the energy was always, always on set.
Hi, this is the Awardist. I'm Clarissa Cruz, executive editor of Entertainment Weekly, and I'm here with Dominique Fishback, star of Judas and the Black Messiah. Hi, Dominique. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I absolutely loved the movie. It was so powerful. I was blown away. Can you give people, I guess, a quick synopsis of what it's about for people who aren't familiar?
Judas and the Black Messiah is a two-hander between Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, and it pretty much is the trajectory of William O'Neill infiltrating the Black Panther Party on behalf of the FBI and the Chicago police. His influence, I guess, kind of led to the demise of Fred Hampton.
I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.
One thing that really got me while I was watching this movie is that it's the events are 50 years old, but it feels unfortunately contemporary. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty interesting because when we filmed the assassination scene, it was the day of the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Chairman Fred. So it was really heavy, but we were fortunate enough to kind of be filming in Cleveland, Ohio, where we were in a bit of a bubble. And so we were grounded, at least for me, grounded in the circumstances of the movie. And so the outside world wasn't exactly affecting me so heavily. I had to pay attention to the energy that I was allowing in my sphere and in my circle. So I kind of did it in that way, but it didn't take away from the fact that, you know, Breonna Taylor was murdered in her bed, and so was Fred Hampton in this. And we see how things haven't changed much.
Tell me what drew you to this part.
Well, Shaka King, our writer, director, he saw me in Show Me a Hero, which is the first HBO project that I did with David Simon. And he said, you know, I have this role for you. I wrote it with you in mind. And I'm saying, like, well, is it my mind or you have to talk to some people? He was like, no, it's yours. He was like, it's yours. So I want you to read the script and let me know your thoughts. And after I read the script, I sent him a long email about all of the things that I loved. And I had two thoughts and I told him, but I don't want to overstep. So if you want to hear them, I'm willing to tell. But like I said, I don't want to overstep. And he said, no, you'll be playing her. You can't overstep. Give me your notes. And so one of them was the first thing that Deb says to Fred is, do you like poetry? And then the Panthers were very poetic people. And then we proceed to never hear a poem. I said, I think we missed an opportunity. He says, I think you're right. Do you want to take a shot at that poem? And so the poem that Deb recites to Chairman Fred is a poem that I wrote. We scream and we shout and we live by this anthem. But is power to the people really worth their ransom? Because that's what a mother does. She gives the world the most precious things she loves, and I love you. And I love our baby too, and there's nothing more radical than seeing that through. A lot of times, I know that this isn't a romance, but a lot of times when we have Black women in those positions, like they always have to prove themselves, like, you know, stay with them throughout jail, or, you know, they're attracted to them physically, and we always have to prove something. So I said I wanted to make sure that he cared about her because of her intellect, that we saw that he loved her regardless of her having his child, and that was really important to me. And so hearing Shaka's response to that allowed me to feel safe in approaching his character. And I asked him, is the family involved? And we all had to go to Chicago to meet Mama Akua. She's formerly known as Deborah Johnson. We call her Mama Akua. We met her and Chairman Fred Jr. and we went around a table, and Chairman Fred Jr. said, "Why do each and every one of you want to do this part, be in this movie?" And that was really important. So I got to see the collaborators that I was working with. It was one point where Shaka said it was a part in the script that they really weren't happy with, and he said, "If anything is detrimental to the legacy, please let me know." And it's changed. And that was just a weight off my shoulder because I knew the type of collaborators that I was going to be working with. Ryan Coogler, Charles King, Shaka King, all honorable people, and I felt safe.
They were also often on set, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. I mean, I'm not an actor, but I can imagine the pressure that you may feel when the people that you're portraying are watching. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, the first day that Mama Akua came to set, I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna go to Video Village. I'm gonna stay on set." And so I did it. I did my scene, and then they said, "Well, Mama Akua wants to see you downstairs," and I was like, "Okay." So I went downstairs, and she said, "You did that scene. That was Deborah Johnson up there. You did that." And I was like, "Oh," it was a weight off of my shoulder because we don't have a lot of footage of her at that age, you know. So I had to go off of my own instincts, my own intuition. And for every scene that I had with Daniel, like when they first meet, when they first kiss, everything, I wrote a poem for every moment. I actually have the journal right here. It's like,
I was going to ask you about that journal. I definitely wanted to ask you about this journal because I've heard about it, and I want you to tell people because this is, I think this goes beyond actorly preparation here. I mean, you're a writer. Let's
yes.
make that clear too. So this is not just something that you're doodling. I mean, this is very mindful and thoughtful. And talk about the journal.
Well, originally I started when I first started doing TV and film, I would journal as all of my characters. But with this, it was different because I asked Shaka, I said, can she have a journal that she carries around? He's like, yeah. So I drew every picture, wrote every word. I really took every moment that I could think of. How can I relate? How can I relate to Daniel? So Fred has these dimples. Oh, Daniel has a dimple. And I watched how he took up space because I thought it was really important. One of the main things that I wanted to make sure happened was that by the end of the film, you believe that the sacrificial gesture that she did by covering his body was believable. How do I get there? You know, for me, how do I get there? How can I show that? Okay. And then it was taking every single moment and writing a poem about it or a thought. I used a lot of Nina Simone music. There's a song called Do What You Gotta Do. And that song was really important because I felt like it was the scene that I associated with the last moments that they have together. So each scene, I put a song to every scene and I summarize it and I journal about it. And so with this, it was a lot of fun because I got to really like go in depth and really write little poems and draw pictures. I made this like little accordion poem thing. I really tried to. I had a lot of fun though. It wasn't all work. It's my joy. I love to do it.
That's amazing. I would love to see that journal. What was your relationship like off screen, and how did you use that to inform your characters?
Yeah, well, Daniel is such a great leader. When we went to Chicago, it was one of the first times that I really got to be in his presence a lot. And I remember how he was. He's so considerate of the African American experience. You know, he's always open to however anyone feels about whatever's going on. So it's never like this is this. He's always lending the ear and he's always listening. And when we were in Chicago, I just remember hearing him speak and feeling like he galvanized me. And I said, wow, this must be how Fred galvanized other people. And then for me, it was important that, you know, the way that Mama Akua cares about Fred's legacy and her presence lends support to his legacy. I said, well, if Daniel were really Chairman Fred, how could I lend to his legacy? How could I support him in this? His presence allowed me to feel that way. I felt super safe. I feel like just amongst all the guys, you know, it's a boys club, you know, and I was a little bit nervous going in, like, you know, will my jokes land? Will my ideas be taken serious? Will I be included, or are they gonna go do other things? And I was definitely included, and the other Dominique Thorne. We were both included, and I felt like I learned how to trust Black men fully while I was on a set, because they're all young Black men, and they always supported and they always showed up for us whenever we needed it. There was never any ego about it, or and I can't even say enough about it. I learned so much. I learned unconditional love while I was there. It made me want to be a better person. It made me a better woman. And I think that's the legacy of Chairman Fred. It felt like the energy was always on set. Because even Daniel calls them background artists. instead of like extras. You know how we say that in the community, but I really love that he says background artists. But even them, they formed together and they had a unit, and then we all came together and we did a lot of things as one. And I just felt like that was what Chairman Fred would have wanted.
The Black Panthers are forming a rainbow coalition of oppressed brothers and sisters of every color.
Do you think that environment on set helped everyone work through the sort of past pains?
Oh, I think it definitely helped everyone because we held space for each other. We didn't even know that we needed space held, or we didn't. I don't think we knew that. I think we were just we knew the responsibility that we had, so we weren't really thinking of ourselves. But in taking on these characters, I realized how important it was. I think the night before we shot the assassination scene, I was in my hotel room and my stomach was in knots and my heart was racing so fast. And I was like, what's going on? And then I said, wow, my body can't differentiate between the fact that I'm playing a role and that Daniel will be okay tomorrow. My body couldn't separate it. So I was anxious. And I realized, I said, well, Dom, you just have to cry. You just have to mourn this loss because, I prayed before I took the role, and I said, please allow me to be a vessel. How can I show that? How can I love somebody so much the way that Mama Akua loved Fred? Can I be able to do that? I open myself to be that type of vessel. How do I get there? And then by the end, when I couldn't separate between the two, I said, oh, be careful what you ask for. No, but also like I felt it and I said, okay, well, I have to allow myself to cry and get through it. Because I wanted to get to the point where at the end, you believe that gesture that she does. She's with child and she still does what she does. And I wanted to be able to get there. And that's why I think journaling as the character for things that we'll never see, for things that we'll never know for sure. And so when Mama Akua said, you did that up there, it allowed me to say, okay, cool. I don't really know, but we know. Like, in our DNA and our spirit, we know. And if we learn how to trust our intuition, then it won't lead us wrong. But we're so scared. We have so much ego and so much hurt, so much earthly things that confuse who we know that we are. And so I think that I was just vulnerable, and I prayed, just let me be open.
You did so much in not saying anything, in quiet moments, in sort of just projecting this kind of steely strength, but you're not saying it. It's just in your being. And I'm wondering, as you're making decisions as an actor, when do you hold back? When do you go all in? When, like, how do you figure out what to do? But why I said that it seems counterintuitive, because it does seem like a lot of it was also intuition and genuine feeling. So,
well, I did get the honor of going to school for acting and learning the tools and the steps. So like the idea of how is my character different from the beginning of the scene to the end of the scene? How is my character different from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie? And I'm so proud of her trajectory. I mean, she comes in as this like enamored teenager who's like, like he's here. And then she becomes this woman, this mother, this comrade, and so how does she get to those things? And so I think it was kind of, I read a lot of Langston Hughes. I just tried to inundate myself with what I think she would have liked during that time. I really listened to Nina Simone songs and I picked them apart. I picked the lyrics apart. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean for me now? And there was a Langston Hughes poem that I wrote in a book, but it was like it wasn't What Happened to a Dream Deferred. It wasn't that, but it was similar to that in a sense where I decided that, oh, well, Fred is the dream, right? Chairman Fred is the dream. And sometimes when we have big dreams, we don't want to let anybody near them because we're scared they won't know how to take care of them. But when you have big dreams too, in order to help the world, you have to share those dreams. If we all come and we don't share our dreams with people, then we're not evolving as a people. And so if Fred is the dream, then he's a lot of our dreams. And so for her to love the dream so much and say, I have to surrender that dream, what does that feel like? So it's just a lot of questions why. And I've been doing the same work for myself. Why do I feel like that? Why do I get these knots here?
why am I insecure about this? Why am I secure about this? Like doing a lot of those questions. So it allowed me to tap into this person that I was trying to represent.
Judas has gotten a lot of Oscar buzz. How do you feel about that, and how do you think people, when they finally get to see it, will react to the movie?
Well, I had to, I had to like, so I got to start getting text messages like, oh, Variety predicts the supporting actress nomination for you. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I had to like pause and say, the Oscar. Oh, it is the Oscar. Like, because I've been dreaming about this my whole life. And now I'm hearing it and it's not really registering. So I had to slow down and say, oh, they're talking about the actual Oscar. That is amazing. And then, watching the film, I'm really excited. I'm really proud of everything that we were able to accomplish together, because it is big shoes to fill. Is very important to our history that is not often told. The legacy of Chairman Fred and the people who sacrificed themselves for us, the Black Panther Party, like is kind of bigger than the experience that we had is so much bigger. So I appreciate it. I'm really excited that people are talking about it like that. I hope they learn a lot. I hope that they take, I hope that whatever they take away from it inspires them to move and motivate and know that there is power in numbers and people. So I'm obviously my teenage heart, my little acting heart from when I was 10 is like, oh my gosh, but me, I'm also like able to say, if it's getting out to the masses and people are getting to learn about Chairman Fred and his contribution to the world, then that's great too.
Thank you so much.
I had so much
Fantastic
fun.
movie. Yeah, you too. Thank you so much, and thanks for making time for us.
Yes, of course. Bye.